Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The United States Sucks and Our Democracy is on Life Support. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. And today's obviously going to be about politics. And I just want to tell you guys that some shite is coming down. But my spirit guides want to tell you don't panic. Panicking is not going to help anybody. If you really want to know what to do, keep your head down. This is the time where you need to be very careful that you're not speeding, that you're not turning without using your turn signal, that you're always wearing your seatbelt, that you always have identification on you. And yes, guess what? I'm talking to white people. Everybody else already knows these things. I'm talking to you and me, white America. We are about to find out what it's like to not be white because we are going to be subject to search and seizure is what the spirit guides want to say. Again, I'm not trying to scare you. Forewarned is forearmed in my book, right? If we all know that the economy is going to go through some hiccups, that different things are going to happen, we can prepare. We will be prepared for this. Those people that are not paying attention will blunder right into the trap or right into the problem, and they will pay the price. You and I, we're not going to do that. We're too smart for that. We're not going to fall for their crazy, stupid stuff. That's why you're watching me. We're going to get through this together. We have a community. We're going to support each other, and we're going to get through this together. Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about Biden because I think you probably, well, I see your comments in my videos. You're like, what is Kamala thinking? What is Biden thinking? I think those are the two people that I think a lot of us want to see right now. Now, I would tell you that when I go into Kamala Harris's energy, right, I can just go into her energy and tell you what's going on with her. But I can also tell you that she has, the guides will not change. This is exactly what they tell me every single time I ask for the past 2 weeks. She has credible, actionable evidence to believe that her safety is at risk. And you can read into that what you want. I'm going to skip over some words because, frankly, we are obviously being watched, right? I mean, AI can scrape every video I do, and they could put the words together in ways that say Susan is being alarmist. Even though I'm not using words, they can put them all together and the algorithm can say, this is a problem, right? Okay. I'm just telling you the way it is, you guys. There's no BS here. I'm not a BSer, believe me. So she's concerned and I don't blame her. And I think that whatever good she could do being out and about like Tim Walz is completely negated by the fact that she could be a sitting duck, is exactly the words they used. She's not going to do that, and I don't blame her. Now, what she's feeling about this is anxiety. I think if I had to put into words what I just saw, I would say heartbreak and anxiety for the people. I mean, honestly, everything she stands for, everything she stood for as a prosecutor, all of that is being erased right now. And then not only that, they're going much bigger and further. And people just don't know. And I keep telling you guys this, and it's so true. They don't know. Like, I will show you a video right now of a trucker, a white dude who's a trucker who drove through Arkansas. And he had to do his weigh in. Sometimes trucks have to pull over and weigh their whatever they've got, their load. We've all seen those weigh stations. Well, he pulled over, and next thing you know, this guy is getting tested on his English. I mean, I'll play you the video right now.
Couldn't believe it. Going through Arkansas, I thought it was a joke. Got stopped at the weigh station in Arkansas and was handed a piece of paper. And it says, "Can you read and write English?" I said, "Yes, sir, I sure can." He goes, "Can you read this?" So I read it to myself, and I was like, okay. I started handing it back. He goes, no, read it out loud for me. So I read it out loud for him, and it's short and sweet, no problem. He goes, now can you write this for me on this paper? And I did, and there was a whole bunch of people that had already written on it. And I was actually witnessing people in handcuffs that had been pulled in, and I was like, what's going on? He goes, oh, we've come across now that if you cannot read or write in English, that it's a $5,000 fine. And if you have a company in Arkansas that employs people that can't read or write in English, it's a $10,000 fine paid on the spot. If you cannot pay it, you're automatically arrested and lose your license. What a shocker.
Now, I have to tell you that I did some research, and there is a law, and it makes sense. There's a law that says all truckers, probably all drivers, I don't know, but all truckers have to have some sort of proficiency of English, right? And specifically, like, you have to know enough to read the signs. I mean, that makes sense, right? You have to know enough to be able to communicate with the public. So I guess that means, like, if there was an accident or something, you would need to be able to communicate to someone about who you are, where you're from, or render aid, or whatever it is. They're very basic. Like, the problem is, here's the problem, and this is the problem with the whole administration. They take a tiny little crack, or they take something that's meant to be helpful. Like, yeah, if you're going to transport goods in the United States of America, you should understand how to speak the language of that country. Like, I wouldn't be opposed if Mexico had the same thing, right? You're going to be driving in our country. You need to be able to talk to our police officers. I mean, it makes sense. But here's the problem. The problem is that when this trucker, as you saw, went in there, they're taking it too far, right? They're actually arresting people. And the other thing that the spirit guide said to me was, what if we don't know what that test is? This guy, who was a white guy, said it was easy, but we don't know that the same test was given to those other people. We don't know if it wasn't a test written out of a law book. Think about medical terminology. I couldn't read that. I couldn't pronounce those words. It's really a different language even than English, is it not? And in that way, you change the standards. And what if you have different standards for different people? What if a black trucker shows up and you get out that standard and you have them read it and they can't read it because it's literally pharmacological terms? Now, not only do you have to read, you have to write. You have to write whatever they tell you to write. So what if they told you to write some crazy medical or legal term that maybe is in Latin, not even in English, and you're like, I don't know how to spell that. Well, then you can't write. Do you understand where I'm going with this? It's a lot like the poll tax, right? You get this, but you get this test. You get that test. It's out of control. Of course, this is in Arkansas. And what I'm trying to say is they're just taking everything and just making it way more of a weapon. They're weaponizing basic things, basic laws that are meant to help us and protect us. The spirit guide said last year, of course, I didn't understand all the stuff they were telling me last year like I do now, but they said they're going to use your freedoms against you. They're literally going to kill you with your own freedoms, right? So, okay, you have the freedom of speech, but now we're going to let hate groups have freedom of speech, but yet we're going to curtail you over here on Threads or Meta, right? Right? That's exactly what's happening. They're going to use our Constitution against us. Okay, now that is what is happening. And when I go into Kamala Harris's energy, she sees that. She gets it, probably way more than you and I get it because of her prosecutorial career and just her specialty is the law. So she gets this. She understands where this country is going. And I feel like she's not hiding. Trust me when I say she's not hiding. The energy is being prudent. It's almost like she's backstage waiting for her turn. Now, I will just take this moment to tell you that I think that there could be a plot twist. I've mentioned it before, and I think there could be a plot twist where Donnie and boys are out and she's in. Don't ask me how it happens. Could any of us have explained how this is happening? No. We are outside of any normalcy. This is whole new transformation energy where they're using the transformation energy to transform into things that are horrible. And we can use the transformation energy to transfer into things that are good. So it can happen. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. I see her on the wings being really just backstage. She's literally backstage. She's not gone. She didn't leave the country. Do you all recall, those longtime viewers, where I saw Jack Smith disappear behind that curtain and he ended up in this other land? And then guess what? 2 months later, he was gone. They're not showing me that with Kamala Harris. She's not gone. She's on the stage. She's just to the side, behind the curtain, in the dark, ready to go. That's important. Okay. I can't promise you that's going to happen. I'm not going to promise you that's going to happen. But I'm saying that's the energy that I'm seeing. And I will say again, because I've said this many times, I honestly wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy, much less someone that I dearly, dearly value and respect, because her destiny was to rule a divided country. Well, you're not going to get any more divided than this place if she does get an opportunity to take it over before 28. I'm not talking about in 28, you guys. I guess I should have said that. I'm not even talking about in 26. I'm talking about before 26. Okay? Insanity. We are in insanity land. Now, let's talk about Biden. Because if you're not, if you haven't watched a lot of my videos, Biden is a Scorpio. I've been up and down and all around. I mean, basically, I love the guy. I think that he's a hero. I really do. And I think that history is going to show him to be a hero. And I think that even though you and I probably wanted him to not leave the White House or to investigate the votes or do all those things that we wanted him to do, I would say that it wasn't, he would have had to stage his own coup illegally. There was no laws on his side. There was nothing on his side. And then at that point, okay, so let's say he says the election is rigged. Do you know how long it's going to take to investigate that? Meanwhile, he can't just hold office. He couldn't. He could have been arrested. He could have been removed. It just wasn't going to work that way, apparently. So here he is. He's on the outside. He's not behind this. He's not behind the stage. He's on the outside, but I would say energetically, he's in the building. He's not left the building. So energetically, if you want to consider this, that there's a building that would be the government, okay? He's in the building. She's backstage, and she cannot see the podium, but it's there. It's like one little turn, and then boom, she can see the podium, and then she's there. She's sequestered in an area just out of sight of the podium. She's being kept safe. I think that's prudent. Now, Biden is a Scorpio. I'm not a Scorpio. I don't know. I learned a lot about Scorpios watching Biden, because I thought for a long time, I thought he was a golden retriever, and he just ran around, like joshing everybody and slapping them on the back and giving their kids ice cream. And, I really didn't understand how he wields his power. How he wields his power is in the dark. He doesn't they're saying he doesn't show, basically. He doesn't, they want to say translate or transmute or whatever, communicate. He doesn't communicate his actions. Scorpions live in the dark. They come out at night. And if you make them mad, they sting you. And he is definitely doing his work in the dark. So right now, what is Biden doing to help us, right? So what he's doing is, I'm going to say only as much as I feel is prudent, because sometimes I think I know too much. And I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm just telling you what I get. You have to make your own decision about what you believe. Always use your own discernment. And this is for entertainment purposes only, my thoughts and impressions only. Okay, he is amassing, the word they're using is amassing, a group of professionals, but I want to call them paraprofessionals, and I don't know what that means exactly, but he's establishing this group. Is he in charge? I just saw Obama. Obama's also involved. Barack Obama. Oh yeah, they're doing something for real. They're really doing something. FBI, CIA, NSA, and then some group of generals or like retired generals. Remember, I was talking about McCaffrey not too long ago. It's all under the radar, because again, if this was not under the radar, it could be considered to be TREASON. Okay, and that would be bad. So I mean, that would be really bad for all of us. And believe me when I say this administration is looking for any excuse, and they'll make up an excuse to arrest somebody. And that's why I think both of those men have, not only do they have like Secret Service, but they have paramilitary. I mean, badass, no joke warriors. Okay, private, paid for people that are like SEAL Team 6 or whatever level of abilities. And these people have, and they are saying that kind of ranger, or whatever you want to call it. They've got so one of those people, I don't know why this is important, but they want me to tell you, one of those people that would be in special forces, they know how to do everything. Like they know how to do spy work. They know how to do espionage. Is the same thing as spy work, you guys. I don't know, maybe it's different. They know how to protect, they know how to defend, they know how to coerce, or they know everything. Like they're a Swiss Army knife of a warrior. So you don't have to have a professional that can debug your house or whatever. Like they know how to do the whole thing. So this is the kind of people that the Obamas, now he's including his family, and Biden and his family have around them. And these people are the most unassuming looking people. It's interesting because, the Magas, they got the people that look steroided up, like they just look like somebody took a bicycle pump and blew them up. No, these people look like unassuming, like they could easily be the chauffeur, they could easily be the gardener, they could easily be the chef. They don't look like anybody that you would ever think could whoop your butt. You know what I mean? But they are. And that's why. It's a very specific mission that they have. Okay, now, so I see these two men, and I don't mean to alienate Kamala when I say that I see these two men, because I feel like their mission is to get her in the White House. That's what I think their whole mission is. But I also think that for a lot of reasons, they're not communicating to her what they're doing. She's in the dark. And I think it's important for that to happen, because in this situation that we're in, it could be very easy for someone to get information or manipulate information. So this is unbelievably secret. There are also other countries involved in this mission, and I'm not even going to say who they are, but there are other countries that on the most secret level are also aiding in this mission. They're aware and they are aiding the mission. So that's something that I didn't know before, but I wanted to ask because I mean, sometimes it's very hopeless, right? It feels helpless and hopeless right now. There's so much bad news hitting us, wave after wave of bad news. And I thought, what can I tell you guys that would be not only helpful, but also not just blowing smoke, right? I'm not that person. I'm just not. So I do feel like these two men who are working together but separately in complete separateness from Kamala Harris, although I just saw Doug briefly. So I think he knows a little bit more than she knows. But this is all for the best. Believe me when I say it's all for the best. And I feel like, so if you watched my last video, I talked about how the billionaires, and this is still 100% true, the billionaires, they built the bunkers, right? We've all seen it. Meta, what's his name? Zuckerberg, he has a bunker. Everybody has a bunker. Okay, great. You built your bunker, right? You know what's coming and you're build your bunker. But here's the thing. They're not going to want to live in it. They're going to want to go to Paris, to Italy, to wherever rich people go and do the thing that rich people do. And they can't because the whole world hates them even more, frankly, than we hate them. So they're persona non grata. So there is the energy of the billionaires saying, well, we tried to take over this country and we tried to take over the world, but we're not really having any fun. Our kids hate us because they can't have any fun. And we don't really want to live in a world like this. So we're going to turn our backs on the Peter Thiels and the Yarvins and the, all those people that are evil beyond. And we're going to try to stop this. So I'm telling you this because I feel like the Biden Obama angle is a new version. Because in the last video, I talked about the billionaires, and then I talked about the military, and then I talked about the people. 3 ways that this situation could be confronted. Okay. And I really, at the time when I did the video a few days ago, I felt like the military was going to be maybe the first one to confront this. And now that I'm dialing into Biden and Obama, I can kind of see that they're planting seeds or they're working with. It's very weird what they're showing me. It's almost like a whisper campaign, okay? Because you can't come out and say it. Somehow you have to identify within the military who is going to be pro-Constitution and who's not. And they're reminding me when Biden took over, when we finally got the White House clear and he took over, he had the whole military stand down for 24 hours. Google it. He had the whole military stand down. I don't know what that means. It basically means nobody's doing anything. And at the time, I did a video and I said, they're doing a head count. They're basically saying, if you're with us, stand up. If you're not with us, there's the door. I mean, really, I think they did that. They gave people a chance to just exit. Like, this administration is pro-Constitution. If you can't be pro-Constitution, if you can't do the thing you swore to do, please exit. So, and I don't think enough of them did, because if you know anything about these groups that would be like the P boys, they actively recruit people to join the military, to gain experience, and also to work within, to lay seeds of doubt and seeds of, racism and all kinds of things, right? Just to break it, just to break the military from the inside out. Then they also, those people recruit military people when they get out to join these groups. So the military has been sort of a pool of people that they've used to, enforce their own stuff or to create their own cult with. So that's why it's a whisper campaign. That's why it's very quiet. It's like literally like you have to know 3 or 4 people before you even hear about the fact that there's a group, that would pledge allegiance. Now, luckily, Magas are not the brightest people, and they're boastful. So they're going to go around just boasting. Yeah, our president's in office now. You're going to see what we do, right? They're going to pretty much out themselves. So that's good. But what they don't know is the people who are quiet, are they just not boastful, or are they on our side? So that's what's happening, right? Like this literally, this sifting, they're calling it sifting through the military. Now, if something happened right now, the whoever Supreme Court, if you watch my last video, I said that the billionaires would have enough. They haven't yet. We're not there yet, but they would have enough. They'd pick up the phone and call their people, meaning whoever that they've been paying, and say, you're going to be ruling like this. I'm sorry, but that's the way it works. Okay. Enough pressure on the B class, they'll put pressure on, unfortunately, the bought and paid for SCOTUS, Supreme Court. And then all of a sudden, the rulings will start going against DJT. The other thing I want to say is you're going to start seeing trickling of kind of not great coverage of DJT. You're going to just start seeing CNN cover things, and you're going to be like, wait a minute, was that slightly not good about DJT? That when you start seeing those little media kind of mishaps or missteps, or, oh, did we run the video of that, and he looks bad? That's when the billionaires are starting to change, because the billionaires own our media. Right? That's why you're not seeing any media coverage of the protest. They're going to keep America in the dark. That's why I tell you guys all the time, they don't know. People just don't know. Number one. Number two, they don't believe it's going to happen. So yeah, the truckers are getting pulled over in Arkansas, and yeah, they're having to pass, but they should speak English. They can't understand that whole concept of, first they came for, the smart people, the intellects, and then they came for this group, and then they came for this group, and then they came for me. They don't believe that. They're not smart people themselves. They probably couldn't pass the damn test either. So the more they start to learn, the more activated, the more engaged they become. And that is a whole nother force to be reckoned with. In my last video, I talked about B class, military, and the people. So now we have B class, billionaire class, military, and the people, and Biden and Obama doing what they're doing behind the scenes. Now, not one of these things, well, the only one that I see that could really change everything overnight would be the billionaire class. They're the ones that have the most power. The military doesn't have the most power. Nobody has the most power. So what would affect the B class? Well, it would be continued international pressure, where I can't fly to Fashion Week, or my wife can't go to this trunk show because she got booed and tomatoes and eggs thrown at her. That really matters. That really affects them. Okay. I mean, it actually affects them more than their bank account, because their bank account is so swollen from the pandemic and everything that's happened. It's going to take a long time for the money to affect them. But social clues, when their kids can't go skiing, when Vance can't go skiing, when Schumer is canceling his book tour, which he did today because, well, he knew what he was going to be facing. They don't like to be social outcast. And then you have this kind of situation where, I think I'll use this name, you have the Luigi situation, where you're not sure what's going to happen. Like, if the public is actually going to do more than an egg, Yeah, they don't want to live like that. They don't want to live their lives where they have to have 15 armed guards walking around them. They don't want to do that. And let me just tell you something. We're mad, we're upset. But wait till the Magas wake up. More white people use social services than black people. Yet they've been told it's the other way around. They've been told their services are low, they can't get enough money because these other people, be they black, be they Hispanic, be they aliens, illegal aliens, whatever, they stole your money. And they believe that. Actually, I just heard that this morning at a coffee shop that I was at. I don't know about in your area, but every coffee shop I've ever been in, and even if it's a liberal coffee shop, there's a group of old men, white men, sitting around every morning. They do it at grocery stores that have coffee shops. They're everywhere. And they talk about, man things, usually politics. And again, there they were talking about how shoplifting has gone up, crime has gone up, and it's all black people doing it. I'm just like, it ruined my coffee. I had to leave, right? I just had to leave. So this is what they believe. Whatever. I can't, obviously we know now we cannot educate them. What's going to educate them is when their bill disappears, when they don't have that HUD money, they don't have that Section 8 money, they don't have that Social Security check is delayed or lost. And this is what the guides have said. I've never seen them cutting Social Security. They're not going to do it, but they're going to terrorize people, which they're already starting to do. Your check is going to be sent to the wrong address. So they're going to tell you you died, even though you're there on the video talking to the news. It's terrorizing. It's literally the same thing about the Arkansas truckers. They took something that was legal and they found a way to make it a weapon. So yeah, it's by law they have to do these things, but they don't have to do them well. They can do them poorly. So that's what's going to wake up the Magas. And when the Magas wake up, and we're seeing this, right? Republicans stopped holding town halls because of the people in the town halls. And I'm telling you right now, those MAGA people, they're Luigi. That's the people who are Luigi. Those are the people, these billionaires, these multimillionaires lay in wake at night and worry about. When they built their compound, they weren't thinking about Democrats coming for them. No, they were thinking about their own people coming for them, and their own people are armed. Okay. They're not sleeping well. They're not enjoying life. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. It's really on the downhill slide from here. But before we get to the downhill slide, which timing is very difficult, I do see there's a possibility, I've said this before, a 40% chance is what I would give it of Kamala Harris walking back into the White House. Now, if she does that, I want you to think about the people you know that are not like you and what they would do, because you're looking at some sort of divided country. So what we have to do is get to the other side. We have to literally put your head down. This is how I started the video. Put your head down. Pay attention to every law. Don't even look up. If you feel like you want to go to a protest, I would go and get an incognito. Learn how to do this, you guys. This is where we are. Open up an incognito browser window. Apple has them. It's called private. Google has them, the 3 dots at the top. Click on that, and you will see where it says new incognito window. That means it's not tracked. Search how to protest safely. One of the things that I saw, and it makes perfect sense, is turn off face recognition on your phone. Because if the cop gets your phone, they can just wave it in front of your face and unlock it. If somebody steals your phone, they can wave it in front of your face and unlock it. Okay, so yeah, it's a really nice thing to have, but it might not be the safest thing to have. Okay, and the spirit guides have been saying for a long time, cover up any tattoos. If it's hot outside, put Band-Aids over your tattoos. Wear a mask, wear sunglasses, and wear a hat. Try to wear clothes that are very bland. Don't wear something that somebody can identify. You may even decide to go get something at the thrift store and wear it and then give it back to the thrift store. I'm not trying to scare you guys. This is where we are. If you're going to protest, I want you to be safe. And they can find you. And this is where we are now. This is the next stage, is intimidation, is McCarthyism. Last year, the spirit guides kept talking about McCarthy. Again, I didn't understand. I could not understand why they would be talking about that. Now it makes sense, right? So you're just keeping your head down. You're not doing anything, but your neighbor calls in and says something about you. You know, you're playing your music too loud, even though you were asleep. Any reason to harass you. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. We know that during the ELE-CTION, that one of the sheriffs in a small town told the populace he was driving around and having his officers drive around and make note of every house that had a Harris sign. Is this democracy? No, this was before the man won. So our problem is not just with 45 or Vance or with Peter Thiel or with Musk. Our problem is local. Local, you guys. This is what we've been saying for years. We have to fix the problem in our local community. And what I would say to you guys is know in your local community who's who. Just know it. Like today, when I was at the coffee shop, there's a guy that was in that group that I've always seen in that group. I've never paid any attention to them. I've tried to not pay attention to them, but today I had to sit closer to them. And I'm still shocked that that guy was saying the things that he was saying that really were racist, that really were very Republican, because I've known that guy for probably 3 decades. He's a gay guy. What the, you know what I mean? What the F? Right? So I didn't know that about him, but now I do. Now I do. And guess what? In this climate, we need to know who we can trust and who we can't. It's very important. They're showing me it's just like Biden and Obama and the generals going through the military and quietly sifting through and putting people in categories. And guess what? People can be in a category and you remove them, like this guy that I thought was the nicest guy. I mean, he's literally known like as a sweetheart. It's just like vanilla, like super, super bland. Guess what? I guess he feels emboldened because he's showing his true colors. I put him in a new category. When people show you who they are, believe them. You've got to do this. This is very, very important. The guides have been telling me this pretty much for hours on end in your own life. If somebody is sometimes, you know, a MAGA, you need to really be very careful, because I don't know where their humanity is. And I get this sense that a lot of us are going to be very surprised at people that we knew and how depraved they turned out to be. So again, this guy, probably spirit, I wasn't even going to the coffee shop today. I was not going. I had no intention of going. I went at the wrong time. These people shouldn't even have been there. I was 2 hours later than I would normally go. But I'm sure spirit put all of that together to give me this experience, because I need to tell you guys the same thing. People in your life may not be trustworthy. And I feel like what I'm seeing is like, so how this could also manifest is someone calls Social Security and says that you're using it fraudulently, even though you're not. It's just meant to wound people. It's meant to attack people. These people are monsters. These people are depraved. They will lie. And I think what's being asked of me and of you is to really recognize people for who they are. Take the blinders off. Stop giving them the second chance, the third chance, the fifth chance. We have to stop. How many chances have we given 45? How many? How many? And this is why we're here, because we didn't believe him the first time, right? Well, you're saying, Susan, I believed him. I believed him. Yeah, but you know what? The people we voted for didn't believe him. You know, Congress has not believed him. A bunch of Democrats voted for his bill. We have to really get very clear about who's on our side. It's the same thing with Obama and Biden. They're trying to figure out who can we trust while they keep Kamala Harris safe. Right? So I want you to be careful. I want you to be cognizant in your community of who could be a jerk, who could make a phone call to the health department on that, restaurant that happens to be owned by some other race that's not white. Help them. We can't just sit back and let these people be attacked. We have to show we're a community. We have to show we're in this together. That's the lesson. The faster we learn the lesson, the faster the teacher disappears. The lesson is find your community. Online, in person, locally, find them all. And then be very, very clear-eyed about who is showing up and in what way they're showing up. Believe them when they say who they are, right? Like I've got a neighbor that's a really nice guy. Really, really nice guy. Okay, I've talked to him, whatever. Well, when he saw my Harris sign, he kind of like literally had a physical reaction, like pulled back, and then he frowned, and then he noticed that I was staring at him. I was in my front yard, and he was like, oh, you saw that, and he just walked away. He didn't yell at me. He didn't say anything, but it's clear that man does not like my politics. And that man, that neighbor, white dude, tries to look liberal, got the long hair. So, he's got like the thing about I'm a liberal dude, whatever, but he's really not. He's really, really very much embedded in our local business culture. And you know what? That guy can make a phone call and make my life not pleasant, right? It's not forever. But for a short period of time, or for whatever short, the guide said short, like I remind you, their time is broke. They don't got time over there, but they said short. And I think what they mean is this year, perhaps even all the way through December, keep a low profile. Do everything by the book. Prepare yourself to be questioned. Don't be mouthy. I hate to tell you, but it's not going to end well for you. We are not in control. Most of the cops are conservative, and they have power, and they love power. You don't become a cop if you don't want power. It's the same thing for anything, right? You don't become a doctor if you don't want to heal people, right? I mean, so okay, yeah, some of them, most of them, right? And the last thing I'll say is, I know I have, thankfully, a very diverse viewership, so I appreciate that. And I just want to speak to my Black viewers, and maybe, anybody who's not white, but specifically my Black viewers. I want to tell you guys, I know you think you've been through this, but you haven't. This is new. This is different. It's not like anything that you've experienced. I don't think it's anything like what your parents or even your grandparents experienced. I'm not saying it's worse. I'm saying it's different. And I'm saying that the way you've managed to live with this crap is not going to be the same way you manage to live with it. It's really worse. The guides want to say it's worse. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't experienced what you experienced. I'm just telling you because I feel like I need to warn you. It's worse. And I think it's directed at you. And I think that, they removed DEI and they're literally removing some square or something in DC. I don't know if it's a Black Lives Matter square. I mean, they're literally, chewing up the concrete. I don't know. I'm saying that's horrible. But I really feel like they're going to require companies to fire Black people. I'm sorry to say it. I just want you to know, heads up. I want you to be very aware of what's happening, and I want you to take really good care of yourself. And I wish I could make this different, but it is what it is. And what I would say is, and I think the Black community is on top of this in the sense that they're not running out in the streets to protest, and I don't blame you, and I don't think you should. This isn't your fight. You didn't do this. I agree with you. I think you should sit at home and, sit it out. I really do. I think anybody that's not white should sit it out. Truly, I do. Because the punishment is going to be unfair towards you. You know that. But also, I feel like in the workplace, you're going to be more singled out for even more stuff than whatever you thought it was bad before. I think it's going to get worse. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope this is not true. But I do want to give you a heads up. If you're watching me, I just want to give you that heads up. Be extra, extra, extra careful around everything. Okay? Like document everything. Have escape plans. Have an extra job to put some extra money away. That way you're not at their mercy. Okay? I know you guys are survivors. You are the original OG survivors. I know that. But this is a different game. I just need to help you understand that. It's different. It's not the same. So the same tactics are not going to work. We're going to get through this together. They said it was going to be short. Even if Kamala Harris gets, the word they're using is reinstated. Even if she gets reinstated, we're looking at some pretty hectic time. And what they had said all those years ago is that she would rule a divided country. And they said that she would be fair, but they said she would not be popular. And they said she would put the left in jail and she'd put the right in jail. Now, I know presidents don't put people in jail before. All my little fact checkers get in the comments. I know that. I'm saying that she won't stand against it. As president, if this happens, she won't say those people should not have been arrested. She's a prosecutor. If you break the law, you break the law. So that is a whole different place where we go from, are there laws? There's only laws when certain people want them to be. We only enforce them when we want them to be forced. We go to a very stern, very controlled situation because we would need to, right? So I think that's what I have to tell you today. We're going to get through it. I don't see us going into some kind of receivership. The guides always use receivership. And I've looked it up. I get it. I get what they're saying, but I don't. So it's like some kind of interim situation. So that's also something I've seen. So if she doesn't get put back in, then There could be a time where there's sort of a caretaker government, a timeout, literally a timeout. And when you talk about martial law, the energy is there, but it's there for 45 to use, but it's also there for a Democratic president to use. The energy is there. You know, I saw her ruling a divided country. He's ruling a divided country. So the energy is the energy. It's going to manifest. So I can see her using martial law, because if she became, or if this interim receivership government came online, I could see them instituting martial law, because they would say, you know, I mean, it's true. By the time this happens, all of our constitution's going to be shredded. Some police are going to be offline doing things they shouldn't. Some military is going to be offline doing things they shouldn't. Nobody's going to know who's who. There's no rule of law. It's anarchy. And that's what this is designed to do. The whole reason behind this is anarchy. This is why what they're trying to do is create anarchy in our country. So if you have anarchy, then you've got to have a strong, almost a dictatorial, right, martial law person come in and say, you know, I'm going to take control of this situation. It's interesting, isn't it? Because we must need that energy, or we must need that lesson, because 45 is saying that's what he's doing, but he's not. He's not. He's a grifter. He's a criminal, right? So it's just fascinating that we might end up with this receivership government, this Democratic government, but it's also very hardcore and very locked down in a lot of ways. And that's what we're going to need to stabilize the patient, to stabilize the country. You know, you have to stabilize the patient before you can move forward, right? And that's where we're going to be. And I feel like this could be October. I mean, I think anything can happen from June on, like, and that doesn't mean that something can't happen tomorrow, because timing doesn't exist on the other side, and you have free will. So something could happen tomorrow, but what the something that would happen, would it be enough? We're not there yet. We haven't got to the tipping point. We're still getting to the tipping point. Things have to get pretty horrendous, I have to say, before we get to the tipping point, before enough people wake up and go, wait, what? What is this? All of this is broken, right? Like, everything is broken. Everything is broken. When everything is broken, everybody wakes up and goes, like they were sleeping, you know, and they wake up and they're like, what in the heck is happening? How did all this happen? And like I told you in that video, they wake up and they run right past you. They don't want to hear from you. They don't want to hear that, you know, you should have woke up. Da, da, da. They're not even going to see you. They're going to run right past you as they go to take care of those people, whoever's doing it at that point, whether it's Teal or Vance or 45, Musk. That's who they're going to be running to. Or your local police department, or your local mayor, your city council, your governor. They're going to go to those people and they're going to have pitchforks. And we're not. We're not going to be that. We're not going to be that, because we're exhausted. By that time, we're exhausted. We're in actually shelter mode. Like Harris. We're sheltering in place, is what the guides are saying. We're sheltering in place. We didn't create this mess. Those people that are sleeping created this mess. Let them get up and run out there and mix it up with the police and the National Guard. Let them do it. It's their turn. They created this mess. They can deal with it. All right. Whew. All right. Last thing I'm going to tell you guys is, wow, I hope you're doing okay. Take good care of yourself. I can tell you that my spirit guides talk me off the ledge every day. I swear to you. I kid you not, every day they have to talk me off the ledge. And what they do is they're like, Susan, get busy, create this, or work on this, or work on me. That, you know, I'm going to tell you that every single time I video, because worrying isn't going to fix it, right? I do my 5 calls. I write letters, emails. I do videos. I'm on social media. I'm on Threads. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm trying to educate people. And then after I do those things, I have to work on me. I have to work on me, because you know what? When all this is done, the sun's going to come out, and either we're going to crawl on our bellies out of our door, or we're not even going to be able to get out of bed, or we're going to walk out of our door and look at the sun. And I don't know about you, but I want to walk out the door. I don't want this stuff to make me so sick that I'm in bed and I can't even go out and enjoy the success, the peace. Take care of yourself. So when this is over, you're ready to go. You're ready to expand. You're ready. You know, again, they're showing that you, if you're watching this video, you are the Red Cross. You are the medic. Whether or not you think you're a healer, whether or not you think you're psychic, I don't care what you think. I don't care. You signed up. You're here. You're looking at me. I'm looking at you. You signed up. Check your contract. Take care of yourself, because after this is over, we need us, you and me, to get out there and start helping people and start rebuilding. But right now is not our time. This is not our time. This is our time to rest. This is our time to shield. There's nothing we can do other than those things that I mentioned. We are not the ones that are going to fix this. The people who created it are going to fix it. Okay? So know that. Take really, really good care of yourself. Now's a good time to invest in you. You know, I have a whole series of Wisdom on Wednesday videos, 110 of them or something like that, all free, all on my channel, where you can learn how to raise your vibration, how to talk to your spirit guides. You can come out of this situation with more abilities. You could take a class on anything, right? On literally anything that you wanted to take a class on. Spending money on you is good. Spending money on things you don't need, not good. But if you invest in you, it'll pay off. Because if you become a Reiki healer during this time, next year you might be making money as a Reiki healer. If you work on your tarot and oracle skills right now, next year you might be reading tarot and oracle for people and making money on the side, or maybe it's a whole profession for you. If you spend time learning about your hobby, something that you're just good at, whatever it is, next year you might find that that becomes an income source. Get busy. Instead of using all your energy to worry, use it to be productive. Use it to invest in you. It will pay off. If you use that energy to worry, it's going to pay off in sickness, in illness. It's not going to pay off in anything you want. I'll tell you that right now. And that's what I've been doing. I literally have been on overtime, working on me, working on my online community, working on my classes, literally working on everything, everything that is going to help me help you is what I've been working on to keep myself from, being stressed out. So if you want to know what's going on, you can check out my website, SusanLynnMedium.com. I have a class coming up with a Fefe on your soul's destiny. You might want to check that out. It's $39. It's very inexpensive. I understand people don't all have money. I get it. But $39 for an hour and a half is pretty reasonable. I also have an online community, $12 a month. Again, I understand not everybody has money. I am in the process of creating that free online community. I really think it's going to be out in the next week. I'm still working on it. So I'm working on things to help you, right? But it's also helping me. Please do that. Find ways to help yourself. Think for the next 6 months, I'm going to become an expert in something. I'm going to learn how to speak a different language, or I'm going to learn how to cook Italian food, or I'm going to learn how to, garden. Just plow all your energy back into you. It's going to benefit everybody else in the end. Okay? Take really good care of yourself. I'll see you again really soon. And we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this together. I'm telling you, we're going to get through this together. Okay? Take good care of yourself. For entertainment purposes only,